I don't even remember this. Good day. I am Robert Silverstein, MD, for the Preventive Medicine Center. And I was just kind of looking through this 1950, remember when. We need a legal opinion. There's a division of opinion here at West Hartford Cable Access TV whether or not I can mention whether or not I bought this, where I bought this. And I was told to say at a card or candy store, and I wanted to say the name of the store. So if somebody would please send me an opinion, I'd like that so that I can give credit for where I bought it, because I was just going to mention it in passing. This is 1950, and it has all kinds of things in it. The one-piece windshield is offered on the new Cadillac for the first time. North Korea invades South Korea on June 25th, capturing Seoul. 1950, the Soviet Union announces its possession of the atomic bomb. The Mambo is introduced from Cuba. Vic Janowitz is the Heisman Trophy winner. And let's see, All My Love by Patti Page is #1. Chattanooga Shoeshine Boy by Red Foley. Cry of the Wild Goose by Frankie Lane. I recently heard that on the radio. Hoop-de-Doo by Perry Como. I Want to Be Loved by the Andrews Sisters. Mona Lisa by Nat King Cole. Ragmuff by the Ames Brothers. That is just fantastic. Well, last night, today is Monday the 26th, and last night was the Academy Awards, and we have, this is the Cine Studio, which is playing many of the things that were mentioned. It has Babel, it has, let's see, Pan's Labyrinth, Letters from Iwo Jima, The Last King of Scotland, and Volver, and all of those were mentioned as either nominees or winners last night. I did watch it for a while, and somebody that I talked to on the phone said that they thought this was the best Academy Awards ever, and I would have to agree with that. I thought this was, it really moved along, had a great clip. I love Ellen DeGeneres and thought she was terrific. I thought that was really cute when she gave Martin Scorsese her script. She didn't do so well with Clint Eastwood, but anyhow, I thought that was all pretty interesting. But Cine Studio has those movies playing, as I'm sure other of the local studio movies do. Now, I want to talk about a number of things today. One is an old bugaboo. Patients often come to me and tell me that there's a difference between the blood pressure in their two arms. And there may or may not be a difference in the blood pressure. I personally, as a cardiologist, never paid any attention to it, and an article just came out saying that that was correct. If you go back and forth between the arms, you'll usually find a small but real difference in various people, and it isn't even really that important that you keep, did I do it on the right arm, did I do it on the left arm last time, and I do change up. I'm not consistent in which arm I record the blood pressure. You might say, well, why don't you record it several times? And actually, when I don't like a number I get, I do record it several times. But if the number is okay, what is an okay blood pressure? An okay blood pressure is 115/75 in virtually everyone. I have patients who tell me they're very content when their blood pressure is 140 or 150 or 135. And it turns out that blood pressure is a very powerful predictor of who's going to have a cardiovascular complication. Heart attack, stroke, sudden death, dialysis, bypass surgery, angioplasty, and as little as 2 or 3 millimeters actually makes a difference. Well, you might say, well, what happens if you get a 140 on the left arm and 130 on the right arm? The differences are not usually that much, and what's more, blood pressure does change on an almost a half-minute by half-minute basis, depending upon how calm the patient is at that time. I had a patient last week who told me, I always go in and sit down for 5 minutes and calm myself down because I was told to do that before I measure my blood pressure. That's not the blood pressure I'm interested in. I'm interested in the blood pressure as you go about living your normal life. When somebody cuts in front of you or is rude to you, or you just got off the phone and had an angry conversation, or whether you are relaxed or if you're tired or not feeling well. We need to see what the blood pressure is during the normal day. I talk about 9 time zones in a day, before and after each meal, and then in between, middle of the morning, middle of the afternoon, and bedtime. And that's 9 times. And what I tell patients to do is generally record the blood pressure in any 2 of those time zones. But they should be random. Like it should be like, say, before breakfast and after dinner. And then the next day would be like after breakfast and after lunch, or before lunch, or middle of the morning. And just kind of mix it up so that over the course of 4.5 to 5 days, you end up seeing where the blood pressure was essentially all day long, and that's a much more realistic way to go about it. Now here's a product, by the way. I happen to think the Gaia products are very high quality products, but this one contains yohimbe and bitter orange. This is a diet pill. It's called Diet Slim, and I actually think it's quite a good diet aid, but it raised blood pressure in a patient of mine. So I would caution you, first of all, I think I've mentioned this, the Omron HEM 637, in my estimation, is the best blood pressure cuff on the market. Oops, there we go. Here's Diet Slim. And that's made by Gaia, and that's the one that raised the blood pressure in my patient. It's sort of buyer beware. I'm a strong believer in that. If you have high blood pressure, get yourself a blood pressure cuff, and then as you do things, if you drink a tea, if you take a diet tea, if you take a diet pill, see what the effect on you is. And as I just pointed out, a difference of 2 or 3 millimeters actually makes a major difference. But this was not 2 or 3 millimeters. This was like 15, 20 millimeters of mercury. Blood pressures would normally be 130, and they'd go up to 140 or 150 in the patient that took that.